सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We have completed up to Sloka number 15 in chapter 7 in Bhagavad Gita. Paramatma was explaining his manifestation both internally and externally. And slowly he was talking about the bhaktas. There are three categories of bhaktas he mentioned in the last class. Manda bhaktas, Madhyama bhaktas and Uttama bhaktas. Both Manda and Madhyama bhaktas, they pray God in Ekarupa Bhakti and Anekarupa Bhakti. Both are in Dvaitam. Only in Uttama Bhakti, the Advaita state comes. That is ultimate Bhakti. So in this context, Paramatma wants to establish that Advaita Bhakti is the ultimate Bhakti. So he is continuing his topic of Bhakti and Bhaktas. 16th Sloka talks about different kinds of Bhaktas. We'll see what Paramatma wants to say. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritinor Arto jijñasurardhardi jnani cha bharatarshaba. He Bharatarshaba, Arjuna, Arta jijñasuhu ardhardi jnani cha itu chatuhu vidaha sukritinaha janaha mam bhajante. Hey Bharata Sreshta, Arjuna, you are the important person in the Bharata clan. Bharata is a very important person and a noble person and most respected person in the Bharata clan. Therefore, he is addressed as Bharata Sreshta. So those who wants to get their wishes fulfilled, they pray God to get rid of their physical and mental problems. They are called Artha Bhaktas. And those who want comforts and luxuries, they also pray God. They are called Ardhardi Bhaktas. And those who understand the limitation in these worldly things, the mundane things, they understand that moksham alone gives the ultimate happiness. So they turn towards the tattvam. They are in search of tattva jnana. So such bhaktas are called jijñasus. They are in search of Atma Jnanam. They have not yet acquired, but they are in search of Atma Jnanam. So such people are called Jijñasu. And those who acquired Atma Jnanam and stay in that Atmanishta, they are called Jnani. So Bhaktas are four categories. The first one is Artha Bhakta. The second one is Ardhardi Bhakta. Third one is Jijñasu Bhakta. Fourth one is Jnani Bhakta. So, he says, Arjuna, Janaha Sukritinaha. Those who did lot of punyam in the previous janma, they worship me. They do lot of worship. In the previous sloka, Paramatma used Dushkrutinaha. Those who are, having papam, they don't come to this path. They are far, far away from the Bhakti Marga. So, those who did punyam, only will come to the path of the God. They may be Artha Bhaktas, Ardharthi Bhaktas, Jijnasus, or Jnanis. They all have accrued a lot of punya, Sukrutinaha. So among the people who accrued a lot of punyam, they worship me. Chaturvida bhajante mam. They worship me in 4 different ways. So they are called 4 different bhaktas. They can be categorized into 4 different bhaktas. What are the names given by Paramatma to these 4 categories? Artha, Jijnasu, Ardharthi, Jnani. These are the 4 categories. So we'll see one after the other. What are these categories? First category is Artha Bhakta. Artha Bhakta means whenever there is a problem, whenever there is some difficulty, immediately the Bhakta remembers God and he prays God to get away from that difficult situation. So, this is for the dukkha nivrutti, to ward off dukkham, to ward off difficult situation, to get away from the troubles and tribulations. People worship God. So they go to temple and put an application to God. Hey Deva, I am your bhakta. Kindly see that my troubles are, washed away. So like this, whenever there is a problem, this is called SOS Bhakti. Whenever there is a problem, they remember God and pray God. Like, the children, when they go to examination, just before examination, they pray God. A day before the examination, they go to temple and offer worship. So, this is called SOS Bhakti. They pray God and they wish that they will get easy paper. They want to score full marks. So, they want the grace of God. So, we have seen in Puranas also people like this. Whenever God is addressed with reverence, with utmost devotion, God comes and helps. Prahlada is one example. Vibhishana, then Gajendra, then Draupadi, Ahalya, then Dhruva. All these people, they address God, they pray God, and God helps them. That is why Bhagavan is given a title, Artatrana Parayana. He is the person who helps the people in need. Any needy person, Bhagavan helps. So he is called Artatrana Parayana. For an Arti, Bhagavan is always ready to help. So this is the first kind of bhakti, and these bhaktas are called Artha Bhaktas. The second kind is called Ardharthi Bhakta. This Ardharthi Bhakta is, he is not having any dukkham, is not having any trouble and any difficulty is not facing. Everything is going smooth. But he wants to have more and more comforts, more luxuries, more profits. So his bhakti is more commercial. His bhakti is more business oriented. So he puts a bait to God and says, if you do this, I will give you this. So he goes into a business. If I get this much of profit, I will put this much of amount in the hundi. So like that, it is ardhardi bhakti, for the prosperity, for the well-being, for the comforts, for the luxuries. People worship. And this kind of worship is called ardhardi bhakti. They pray for promotions, they pray for status, they pray for prosperity, all these things. Both Artha Bhakti and Ardhardi Bhakti, they are the first category, that is Manda Bhaktis. This is called Sakama Bhakti. So, in this kind of bhakti, Ardha and Kama are the Lakshas, they are the targets. And Bhagavan is the means. The end is Ardham or Kamam. Ardha Kamas are the end, Bhagavan is the means. Then comes the third category, Jnyasu. In this stage, the sadhaka has become matured. He is exposed to, the Shastra. Not fully, but he has got some idea. He knew that these mundane things will not give him ultimate happiness. Ultimate happiness, ultimate shanti, peace, ultimate security, bhadrata, that can be achieved only by knowing God, because that is the very swarupa of God. So he wants to know the real nature of God. So he understood that by acquiring the knowledge of God, by acquiring the Brahma Jnanam, he can get Achantika Anandam, the ultimate Anandam. So in order to get that, he has to sacrifice the Sakama Bhakti. Because the Sakama Bhakti, the enjoyment is fleeting. It doesn't stay. It comes and goes. So he changes to Nishkama Bhakti. He transforms from Sakama Bhakti to Nishkama Bhakti. And this Bhakti is called Madhyama Bhakti. In this stage, Bhagavan alone is the target. Bhagavan is no more the means. Bhagavan alone is the target. So this stage is called Madhyama Bhakti. Then the ultimate Bhakti is Jnani. When he is exposed to Shastra under an able and competent Guru, a Srotriya Brahmanishta, the sadhaka becomes a Jnani. So when a Bhakta becomes a Jnani Bhakta, he understands that Bhagavan is not different from him. His own real Swarupa is Bhagavan. The Swarupa that is available here in this mundane world is only transactional. It is only Midya Rupam. But Paramardhika Swarupam of Jiva is Bhagavan. So, in this stage, Bhagavan is neither means nor the end. Because Bhagavan is Sadhya Sadhana Vilakshana. Is a Siddha Vastu. Bhagavan need not be achieved because he is already there as my very Swarupa. So only thing is you have to recognize this. You have to shake off the ignorance and stay in this Nishtha. So Paramatma has given 4 different kinds of bhaktas. Naturally, we'll get curiosity. When 4 categories are mentioned, people will become curious to know who is superior, who is ultimate. So, that also Bhagavan is going to tell us. So if you see the first stage, Artha Bhakta praise God for dukkha nivritti, to evade troubles and tribulations. Then he grows further to Ardhardi Bhakti. And then he prays God for Sukha Prapti. Both are Sakama Bhakti. Then both have Sadhana and Sadhyam. Sadhyam is the Arthakama and Sadhana is Bhagavan. So from this he again graduates to Jijnasu Bhakti and understand Bhagavan alone is the Lakshanam. He graduates to the Nishkama Bhakti and understands that Bhagavan alone is ultimate. So a Jijnasu Bhakti understands that Santi, Bhadrata and Anandam. That means peace, happiness and security, they are not available outside. They are not available in mundane things. Bhagavan alone is the ultimate Santi, ultimate Bhadrata and ultimate Anandam. So, by getting things in the mundane world, you cannot get ultimate happiness. Earlier, he was under the feeling Bhagavan is located in some place like Kailasam or Vaikuntham, and after death he has to reach that place. Now he understood that reaching a loka is not moksham, because Bhagavan is everywhere. He is not located, fixed in one particular place. He is all pervading. So he understands Ishvara Prapti is nothing but Ishvara Jnana Prapti. Earlier he used to say, I have to get the darshanam of Bhagavan. Now he says, I want to get the real knowledge of Bhagavan. So this is the difference. You have to wish Bhagavan now, I want you to reveal your real Swarupam. Please help me in understanding your real Swarupam. Give me the adhikaritvam, give me the qualification. Chitta Suddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. So like that you have to pray God and see that you understand the real nature of God. So from Artha Bhakti to Ardharthi Bhakti to Jijnasu Bhakti, you have to graduate to Jnani Bhakti. That is the journey. So all the three stages we have to surpass and finally land up in Jnani Bhakti. So it may take so many janmas. Then you may wonder. So after coming to Jnani Bhakti, should I not go to temple? Should I not pray at home? Should I not do my regular puja? You can do. You can go to temple, you can do puja, everything is all right. But don't stay there. Don't fix yourself to that alone, because that is a stage which gives you Chitta Suddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. The real internal transformation comes only by knowing the real nature of God. So you slowly graduate yourself from that stage to Arupa Bhakti or Jijnasu Bhakti and become Jnani. Bhagavan, after categorizing this, is giving a judgment. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhaktir visishyate priyo hi jnaninotyardham aham sacha mama priyaha. Tesham nitya yuktaha eka bhaktihi jnani visishyate. Aham hi jnaninaha atyardam priyaha asmi. Saha jnani cha mama priyaha asti. So among these people, among these bhaktis, the jnani bhakti who focuses his mind 24/7 on me, such an ananya bhakta who is called jnani is shrestha. He is the ultimate. So Bhagavan declared, he first categorized 4 types of people, and now he pinpoints that jnani bhakta is ultimate. Why jnani bhakta is ultimate? Because he feels, I am the ultimate. I am the most beloved one for him. So much so, he is the most beloved for me. Why is this happening? Because he doesn't see the difference between me and himself. He cannot bear the separation. He cannot see me different from him. Tesham jnani visishyate. Tesham means among these 4 bhaktas. Who are the 4 bhaktas? Artha bhakta, Ardhardi bhakta, Jijnasu bhakta, Jnani bhakta. Among the 4 bhaktas, Jnani bhakta is superior to the other bhaktas. So if you understand this clearly, this is what Paramatma told. It is not my own diction. Directly, Paramatma is saying Jnani Bhakta is superior to the other 3 categories. So if you understand this clearly, lot of misconceptions will go away. What are the misconceptions that are prevalent now in Jnana Margam? People think that Jnana Margam is very difficult. Jnana Yogam is the toughest thing. It is not easy to understand and get knowledge. They stay with bhakti and bhajans. I am not criticizing bhajan and all that. I am only saying don't stay there. I love bhajan, I love bhakti at every stage, and the caution is that don't stay there, you have to graduate. So Paramatma says in this particular sloka, don't stop there. Don't stop with bhakti yogam. You do karma yogam, upasana yogam, and come to jnana yogam. By karma yoga you get chitta suddhi. By upasana yoga you get chitta ekagrata and get adhikaritvam, qualification, and then come to jnana yoga. So this is one misconception. People say that in Kali Yuga, Nama Sankirtanam alone gives you moksha. Not true. Because Veda never said that. That's not a Vedic statement. Veda says, Jnana devatu kaivalyam. Jnana Sankirtana will definitely help you, mature from Artha Bhakti, Ardhardi Bhakti to Jijnasu Bhakti. From Jijnasu Bhakti, you have to get knowledge from a Srotriya Brahmanishta and then become a Jnani. That is the process. Then the second misconception is, people think that they get Atma Jnanam through meditation. This is another big misconception that is prevalent. They spend years and years and years. They don't listen to Bhagavad Gita, they don't listen to Upanishad. They just pay deaf ear to this kind of advice because they are fixed. They think that only meditation gives you moksha. This is not true. There is no Vedic sanction for this statement. By nirvikalpa samadhi, you don't get atma sakshatkaram. Meditation is different from nididhyasanam. Meditation is helpful before coming to jnanam. It will help you cleanse your antakaranas and widen your chittam. Chitta vaisalyata and chitta suddhi. It can help you. But necessarily, one has to undergo the Sravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. That is what Paramatma told in the 4th chapter. In order to get this knowledge, you have to approach a guru and, pose pariprasna. Then Guru, out of compassion, he gives you the knowledge. In Puranas and other epics, you get lot of stories like Ajamilopakhyanam, Jadabartopakhyanam, then Prahlada Charitam, Gajendra Moksham. Like that, there are so many stories which tell you, which prompts you about Saguna Brahma. There is some Nirguna Brahma also hidden in that. But people do not care to dive deep into the Nirguna Brahma which is prescribed there. Narrate the story also, they don't bother to touch that Nirguna Brahma aspect. They silently leave that part and highlight the Saguna Brahma. So, you are not getting the proper knowledge by these stories. All these stories, they also speak about the Nirguna Brahma in a hidden way. There should be a competent person to explain you. Then third misconception, which is very prevalent, is that if you enter into jnanam, you lose bhakti. Your bhakti gets diluted. So people complain, by joining this jnana marga, I am losing bhakti. I am losing bhakti means what they think. They are not able to do puja and the pilgrimage and other things. That is their feeling of ultimate bhakti. They have not realized what bhakti means. Jnana bhakti is the parakashta, the ultimate bhakti, because in jnana bhakti you don't want a separation from God. You don't want to see God separate from you. Earlier, what was the situation? You have to see God somewhere else. You have to either go to some mountain top or some distant place and then find God. Now you see God everywhere. So this is the Bhakti Parakasha. This is the pinnacle. This is the final stage of Bhakti. So this Jnani sees God everywhere. Not only in him, in every person he sees God. So his behavior is totally divine. So Advaita Jnani, he has got a Bhagavad Drushti when he looks at the world. By acquiring Jnanam, by acquiring Advaita Bhakti, you don't lose Bhakti. In fact, your Bhakti becomes multifold. Nitya Yuktaha. Why this Jnani is a great person? Because day in and day out, he is with God. But whereas a Dvaita Bhakta has got a time. and a place. He has to go to a place and he has to do avahana, and then at the end of the puja he has to do udyapana. That means he has to send off the God. So in Dvaita Bhakti there is a arrival and departure of God. Whereas for a Jnani Bhakti there is no arrival and departure. God is all. Everything is God. He cannot imagine a place without God. He cannot imagine God coming and God leaving a place. It is beyond his imagination. So Nitya Yuktaha. That is why Jnani Bhakta is always in the Ishvara Nishta and he is superior to the other three categories. Eka Bhakti means that Advaita Bhakti. Here you have to remember one important aspect which was discussed in Brihadaranyaka in a chapter called Maitreyi Brahmanam. In that Brahmanam, Yajnavalki reveals a bitter truth to his beloved wife. He says that everyone loves something because that's how he sees his pleased one. A person loves something because he sees his pleased self in that. Because he feels more comfortable in that love. Not because his love is selfless. His love is with an undercoat that he is put into comfort, put into some happiness by doing that. So, Nava are patyuhu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati. Only for seeing the pleased self of the wife, a wife loves the husband. Not because the husband is good or husband is beautiful, not because the husband is good or husband is handsome. Wife loves a husband because that's how she gets the pleased self. So much so, the theory is extended to all the things in this world. So he says a mother loves the child because that's how she sees the pleased self. A child loves parents, that's how a child sees his pleased self. So, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Only for my pleased self only I love others. It's a very bitter truth. But then, what happened here? In case of Advaita Bhakta, he is loving God because that is his pleased self, that is his superior self, that is his real self. So, naturally, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati, if you apply this rule, he is loving God because that is his self. That is the ultimate love, declared by Brihadaranyaka. So, without knowing this, people simply spend away their time in mundane things. Yavad vitto parjana saktaha tavan nija parivaro raktaha paschad jivati jarjara dehe vartam kopina pruchati gehe. As long as you are doing job, you get some chips home, you are treated well. That is what Atmanastu kamaya means. So once your job is over, if you are retired, that's all. You know the real love. So, every person loves the other person with some conditions. Only if these conditions are met, the love is continued. He extends this to bhakti also. Bhakti also has conditions. Artha bhakti, we have seen the condition, that is dukkha nivritti. Ardharthi bhakti, we have seen the condition, that is sukha prapti. Jnana bhakti also, we have seen the condition, that is we want to know about God. Jnani bhakti also has this, but here he realized that is his real self. So he is not away from the God. When that is established, then that love is superior. Priyohi jnaninaha atyartham. So for jnani, Bhagavan is the most beloved one, because that is his very self. So much so, Bhagavan loves the person. Aham sacha mama priya. I also love him so much because he loves me so much. So, Jnani and Bhagavan are one and the same. That is why a Jnani loves Bhagavan and Bhagavan loves Jnani. Ultimately, 18th sloka will see. Udara sarvaye vaite jnani tatvaiva me matam astitas sahi yukta atma mame vanuttamam gatim. Yete sarva eva udaraha santi. Jnani tu mama atma eva asti iti me matam. Sahi yukta atma anuttamam gatim mam eva astitaha asti. So finally God categorized into 4 categories. Then he is saying everyone is great. Everyone is perfect. But since Jnani is my own Swarupa, I feel my Jnani is my very Swarupa, that is my opinion. Iti me mataha. Because a Jnani Bhakta is not away from me. He is in my Nishta, Atmanishta or Brahmanishta 24/7. That is why Jnani Bhakta is the most important Bhakta, most beloved Bhakta for me. Then the other Bhaktas may get doubt. How come Bhagavan is so partial? Does it mean that he is not loving us? No. He says that you don't have such a doubt. He says, Ete sarve eva udaraha. All bhaktas are great. So I am not undermining, I am not belittling the other bhaktas. That's what Paramatma is saying. So Artha bhaktas, Ardharthi bhaktas, Jijnasu bhaktas, Jnani bhaktas are great. Indeed. But Jnani tatvaiva me matam. Because the Jnani bhakta has got the tattva darsanam. He understood his Swarupam. Because he knows that I am his very Swarupa. This is a Mahavakya. So there is no difference between me and the Jnani. That's why, in my opinion, he is not different from me. The other bhaktas are, keeping God away from them. They are maintaining a distance. Their bhakti is with a condition. Jnani Bhakti, there is no difference between God, there is no distance between God and himself. Sahi Yuktatma. And he focuses his mind, keeps his intellect on me, and he knows his target clearly. Mam eva anuttamam gatim asthitaha. So he understood the ultimate target, ultimate lakshyam in the life is Bhagavan. Here the word gati means lakshyam. So for everyone there is a lakshyam, there is a target. For Artha Bhakti there is a target, Ardharthi Bhakti there is a target, but these targets are not ultimate. Artha Bhakti and Ardharthi Bhakti, the targets are Ardham and Kamam. Bhagavan is only means. So it is not the ultimate lakshyam or the ultimate target. There's a story in Bhagavatam. A couple, they were not having children, they were very much worried. Once a rishi comes to their house and they give him bhiksha and they, do all kinds of saparya to him. And rishi wanted to bless them. They said, we don't have children, kindly bless us. So rishi said, tadastu. Then they got a child. And they were happy with the child. Suddenly, one day, the child dies. And it is so incidental. On that very day, the same rishi happened to come to their house. They were in the, highest grief. They prayed that rishi, by your varam, by your boon, we got the child. But unfortunately, due to his prarabdham, we lost him. So they were feeling so bad. Then that rishi told, okay, I'll make him talk that the dead corpse is lying on the floor. Then he said that I'll make him talk, you listen to him what he says. Then he sprinkles the mantra jalam onto him and he opens the eyes. Then both of them, both father and mother, goes close to him. Hey, do you recognize us? We are your father and mother. Then he looks at them, in which janma are you my father and my mother? I had so many janmas and so many parents. I don't remember which janma you are my father and mother. Then they realize, they get into that vairagya. So like this, the bondage is not permanent. The bondage is only limited to this body. Runanubandha rupena pasupatni sutalayaha runakshaye kshayam yanti tatra ka parivedana. So we will go to the 19th sloka. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Jnanavan bahunam janmanam ante vasudevaha sarvam iti anubhuya mam prapadyate saha mahatma sudurlabha. So, after surpassing so many janmas, after crossing over many janmas, one will come to the jnanam and becomes jnani. then he understands all this is Vasudeva. Sarvam Vasudevamayam. Sarvam Brahmamayam. So, he looks at this entire world as Vasudevamayam. So, such Mahatma is very, very rare. Whereas the people who are, in this worldly thing, the people who are in the mundane world, suppose you imagine that they are they are facing water problem. If Bhagavan appears and questions, do you want me or water? He will say immediately, I want water. So they don't know if Bhagavan is there, they will get water also. So, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. So, for these people, everywhere Vasudeva is there. So, they are Jivan Muktas. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After surpassing many, many Janmas, they get this Jivan Mukti. They get the liking for moksha, and they are in the presence of a Shrotriya Brahmanishta, and they get liberated. This mumukshutvam you will get only after surpassing so many janmas. Then again you will get it out. So that means we need to have some more janmas. So here Paramatma is saying you have to pass many janmas to become a mumukshu, to become a jnani, to get liberated. This is a pessimistic approach. One who is a Sishya of Sankara, one who is a Sishya of Paramarthananda will never talk like this. So what Paramatma wants to say is, so you have come to this stage after passing so many janmas. So don't descend from this stage. Don't fall down. So you have already wasted so many janmas and finally reached this stage. Jnanavan bhavati. So you have reached the fourth stage. So those people, mam prapadyante, they get me as what? As a siddha vastu. Vasudeva sarvam miti. Vasudeva is there. All through. In and through the world, Vasudeva is there. Vasanti sarvani bhutani. Asmin iti vasuhu. In all living beings, in all things, that is, he is there as Sat and Chit. Such a Tattvam, which is Chaitanyam, is the real Vasudeva. Swayam prakasate iti devaha. Vasudevaha. Sa Mahatma, so such a Jnani is a Mahatma, a very, very rare and noble person. Sudurlabha, very difficult to get such person. So, you be optimistic, having come to these classes, having come to the fold of Swami Paramarthanandaji, you have no worries. You have no fear. You understand that Atma is Siddha Vastu. And the liberation is here and now. So, that is what Paramatma wants to say. You have the Jnani reached this stage after surpassing so many janmas. We are all Jijnasus or Jnanis. Those who started learning, they are Jijnasus. Those who have already learnt and started enjoying, they are Jnanis. Only two categories. So there is no need for you to get one more janma and then get uplifted like that. So this is the idea. More and more such wonderful slokas will come in the next class. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om